Hello there, Christy Nickel here with Lean You. Chances are, if you're watching this video, it's because you've been tapped on the shoulder and asked to participate in a 5S event. So I've put together this quick and simple video to introduce you to 5S, provide a short demonstration on how to implement the system, and let you know what to expect. So what is this 5S stuff? 5S is a system that helps ensure you have everything you need to do your job, and that it is quick and easy for you to find those things, use them, and put them away. So have you ever needed tools or material or information? You go to the spot they're normally in, they're not there. You walk to another spot, they're not there either. You finally find it, but it's amongst a pile of stuff, so now you have to rifle through that to find it. So frustrating for you and such a time waster. So 5S is a system we use to reduce all that frustration on your part and eliminate all that wasted time searching for things. 5S is called 5S because it is 5 phases that all start with the letter S. We've got sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and last but not least, sustain. The very first S is called sort. We're going to roll up our sleeves and sort through everything in an area and get rid of the things we don't need. The things that we don't need, we're going to either throw them out, recycle them, sell them, move them to the area that they're used in. If it's confidential information, we're going to make sure to shred that. Declutter. We do that because the more things we have in an area, the harder it is for you to find the stuff you really need. If you come across an item that you're genuinely not sure of in terms of whether we need it or not, or if someone's feeling really anxious about letting something go, we are going to put a red tag on those items. We're going to document some basic information like what the item is, how many there are, and where it's coming from, and we're going to put them in another spot. Out of sight, out of mind. Over the course of the next few weeks, if you need the item, you can go get it and bring it back. If we don't need it, then someone will be assigned to eventually make that final decision and get rid of those items. So you can see behind me a really messy cabinet, like kind of a closet area within our den. It drives me and my husband crazy because we just tend to shove everything in here. When we need something, we got to rifle through all of this, stuff falls on our head. Like, I'm not being dramatic, it literally falls on our head and it drives us crazy. So I am going to apply sort within here and get rid of all the stuff we don't need. I'll be right back to show you the results and introduce you to the next S. Okay, so sort is done. I have a big bag of books to donate to our secondhand bookshop down the street. I ended up shredding a big pile of documents. I took out a bag of garbage. I have a nice pile of stuff to donate. I have a couple items I'd like to sell, and I took down a schwack load of stuff down to my home office. Now everything that's left in our area is stuff that belongs here. Now we're going to move on to the second S, which is set in order. And set in order means for everything left, we're going to create a home for it and keep those items in those homes. We are going to create permanent and visual places for everything remaining to be kept. Now there's 2 phases to set in order. The first phase is when we determine the best spot, the best place for everything that's left, and that is determined by how often we use it. The things we used most frequently, we keep closest to us. The things that we use less frequently, occasionally, they're kept a little further away. And those items we hardly ever use, those are the things that are tucked away at the back of the warehouse or in the hard to reach areas of our shelving. Once we've determined that best spot based on frequency of use, now we're going to go into phase 2 of set in order, which is making those homes visual and foolproof. This is where these items are kept. Now there's lots of things we can use to indicate those homes. We can use labels, color coding, we can outline the shape of things so it's really obvious that's where it goes. We can use signage, we can take a picture of what belongs here and put it there. The whole idea is to make it foolproof, is if I have to put something back, it would be silly for me to put it back anywhere else than in its home. Okay, so first phase, what's the best spot based on frequency of use? Second phase, let's make that home obvious and visual. So I'm going to go ahead and implement set in order to our little storage area here, and then I'll show you the results and we'll carry on. Okay, so now I've completed set in order in our closet space. First thing I did was determine those best spots based on frequency of use. So these two shelves here are the items that we use the most frequent in between waist and shoulders. This shelf and this shelf contain items that we use less frequently, and this shelf way up here and tucked way down there contain the items that we hardly use at all. Once I determined those best spots, I thought about how to make those homes really visual and foolproof in terms of where things need to be returned to. So if I look at this shelf here, I've used some labels here to indicate this is where our art supplies are, this is where our electronics are to be kept, and to be even a little more specific, if I take off this paint container, hopefully you can see I've actually outlined the shape of this container along the back wall. So when I go to put this container back, it's even more obvious where that item goes. Here in the electronics area, I've actually tried to use some vertical space to free up some of the shelf space for other items. So I just tacked small nails into the back and I've hung various items. And if I take off the item, I've used labeling to identify the home for each item. If we move on to our games shelves here, I tried to think of a really simple way of indicating where each of the games are to be returned to. So I came up with the colored dot system. So each dot here on the shelf indicates those games with a red dot are placed on the shelf with the corresponding color of dot, in this case red. If I were to take this game off and I go to put it back, there's a yellow dot. It goes in the pile above the shelf with the yellow dot. So both of these shelves kind of have that color and color matching system. If we look at this shelf here, I again have used labels to indicate this is where books go and this is where my books to be read are to be kept. And I've also used a diagonal line along the spine of these books to show what order they're to be kept in. So that if I were to take this book out, it becomes really obvious where it belongs. And if I were to place it here, we can see very clearly that it's breaking up the line and it's been put in the wrong spot. Last but not least, I'd like to show you this door here. Somehow we always lose our extension cords, so I figure why not keep them front and center? And what I've done is I've created an outline of where these items should be kept. So if I were to use this extension cord and I come to put it back, I can see automatically that this shape is reflected here and that this is its home. Outlining items in a vertical space is called outlining. If we were to color in this entire area, it would be called a shadow board. Same concept, making it really clear to our brains if I'm holding this shape, naturally I'm going to put it in the place that also is showing that shape. So that's the end of set and order. Now we're going to move on to our third S, which is called shine. And what shine means is making sure everything is clean and ready to use. So everyone who works in an area is going to agree to complete some simple cleaning tasks before heading home. Some examples of these tasks might be wipe down all tools that you've used, place the tools back in their designated spots, sweep the floor, and we're also going to identify if there are any supplies that are needed and where those supplies are kept. So for our simple closet area, my husband and I came up with a very simple shine routine. The activities that we decided to do to maintain a nice and clean and organized closet area are to place all used items back in their proper spots and to create permanent and visual homes for all new items so they're not just thrown back in there. Some supplies we're going to need: label maker, colored labels, and painter's tape. The location of those supplies is in our home maintenance drawer. So there you have it. That's a simple 5-minute shine routine. Some simple activities you and everyone in that area agree to do before you head home for the day. That leads us to our fourth S, which is standardize. And standardize means making a habit of our first 3 S's. How do we build in sort, set in order, and shine into our everyday routine? And all that means is that whoever's leading your 5S initiative is going to take these activities and they're going to create a visual chart to follow so that we're going to be following it every day and building it into those routines. In our particular example, all I did was I took our shine routines and I created this very simple document. On the document, it identifies what area it is, who's responsible for completing the shine routine, when it is to be completed. I've taken a picture of the closet as it needs to look. We call that a picture of the desired state, and I've placed that there. And underneath the picture, I've listed our shine activities, what the required supplies are, and where those required supplies are found. So now standardized means I'm going to take this and post it in the area. And now everyone who's responsible for completing these activities is aware of what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and by whom. And that now leads us to our fifth and final S. Sustain. And what sustain means is building 5S into our culture. And we do that through rewards and recognition. We are going to be setting up regular audits to be completed in every area in your company that has implemented 5S. And we're going to share the results, and we're going to celebrate those areas that have done a really great job implementing and maintaining the 5S system. So there you have it. There's the 5S system for creating and maintaining a clean, organized, and safe work environment. Don't forget to take those before pictures, and most importantly, don't forget to have some fun.